My musicianship lately, and just like the way that, you know, I'm looking at presenting it to people, it's like you always, you know, think about as a, you know, as a musician or a performer or any, you know, anyone that has like an audience, you know, there's always this, you know, inherent weight on your shoulders, you know, to really consider the message, you know, that you're putting out, you know, given the opportunity to, you know, speak, you know, your opinion or, you know, your mind or whatever these people. And I've started to look at it like precisely in the opposite way that I thought that I always would, is that I'm almost more interested in not providing a really like strong, heavy-handed message, because I've come to, even myself, you know, become somewhat irritated with like, you know, the really like preachy, you know, political or whatever like sort of thing in music, because it's like the whole point to me of especially live music is that it's a mechanism to congregate and gather a bunch of people together. But once they're there, you know, I don't want to hit them over the head with like, this is my message, this is, you know, how I think that you should all behave, or this is, you know, the whole thing. The whole point is actually, you know, to me anymore, is just to have more fun and you know, maybe have the music be a little, you know, more lighthearted or silly, or talk about, you know, different things, and it doesn't need to have this like coherent philosophical thread, because if you get a bunch of people like that are all brought together by a common, you know, artistic interest in music, and they're even more in an environment where it's less serious, they're having fun, they meet each other, they make connections, and, you know, they don't have to be like polarized to this whatever message you're trying to, you know, really slam into their minds, and it allows them a lot of freedom just as a group to, you know, just make their own connections and you know, whatever comes out of it.
It seems like it's really more about the mood and the setting that you create in your performance than necessarily the words. And then there's that magic of bringing people together in the first place, and all the inspiration and connections that you foster.
Yeah, and I see a lot of I've definitely experienced myself. It's like I really see a lot of, even like, you know, in the music scene and all of that, there's still a lot of reservation in people's like actions. Like, it seems like we've kind of come to this point where you know, the like self-expression is kind of being stifled to a certain extent. You can see it by the behavior of crowds at concerts. Like, they're always a pretty good indication of like what's going on in society. And I see more and more, I've noticed over even the past, you know, 5 or 10 years, these, you know, really like sort of like shoegazy, like standing around sort of crowds that aren't really, there's not a lot of activity, there's not a lot of engagement, you know. And, you know, part of that is, you know, kind of the musician's responsibility to develop that environment and kind of set that example for, you know, self-expression. And it's, you know, it's not necessarily about the musician having, like, they have anything, like they know anything more, have any sort of a greater concept to put out. It's just kind of like just getting up there and providing that, you know, direct example of like open self-expression as a model for the audience, you know, to feel more comfortable doing that themselves. And then when you get, you know, the audience to open up and do that, then that's when those are, you know, really cool shows and, you know, stuff happens. So